أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه الأجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي عما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My dear sisters in Islam, we are going to continue with our lecture on the fall of Muslims. So the third factor, my dear sisters in Islam, that led to the fall of Muslims was the incoming government of Banu Umayyah under the leadership of Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. So in 41 AH, after the end of the leadership of the four rightly guided caliphs, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, Uthman radiallahu anhu, Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu, and Ali radiallahu anhu. So the government of Banu Umayyah started with Muawiyah radiallahu anhu as its first ruler. The government of Muawiyah radiallahu anhu was not a continuation of the leadership of the four rightly guided caliphs, nor he himself could claim to be a rightly guided Khalif. So despite all this, his moral character and his love for Islam were above board because he had benefited from the company of the Prophet ﷺ and also had acted as a scribe for the divine wahi, that is the revelation of the Holy Quran. Muawiyah radiallahu anhu continued his efforts for the uplift of Islam despite his attacks. So among his efforts for the uplift of Islam was that apart from certain moral values or virtues, Muawiyah radiallahu anhu used his political wisdom, his ability to govern, and having to strengthen the political power of the Muslims under very delicate and complicated circumstances. And also among his efforts also to uplift Islam was that a large part of North Africa had been conquered during the period of the four that had been conquered during the period of the four rightly guided caliphs. You find that Muawiyah made sizable addition to the territories already conquered by the four rightly guided caliphs. And on that issue, you find that the Berber tribes of North Africa, or on that note, you find that the Berbers of North Africa rose in revolt against the Muslim government, but Muawiyah curbed their rebellion and ensured that the safety of Muslims was in place. So also, among the efforts of Muawiyah to uplift Islam despite of his mistakes, you find that Syrians and Egyptian borders were not safe from the attacks of Romans due to the Mediterranean Sea. But Muawiyah radiallahu anhu raised a military camp at the borders to neutralize the Roman forces and also built forts for effective defense of Muslim lands. And among also his efforts to uplift Islam, despite of his mistakes, he built warships and inflicted a crushing defeat on the Romans in the Sea War, in which he also conquered the islands of Cyprus, Rhodes, and Arwad, and also erected camps there. He also attacked the islands of Sicily and Crete, but could not conquer them. Muawiyah also crushed the anti-Islamic forces inside the Islamic Empire that wanted to destroy the central organization of Islam by their revolutionary misdeeds. Besides the conquests of enemy lands, Muawiyah also performed many constructive words which were urgently required. Also, the political policy of Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, though uh, charged with occasions of oppression and high-handedness, you find that it proved to be most successful under circumstances than prevailing. So the overall effect of the policy was that the march of Islam did not slow down, and the number of converts went on increasing. So a scholar of Islam, Ibn Taymiyyah, may Allah have mercy on him, stated in part 2 of his book, Manhaj Sunnah, he stated that when Khilafah or Islamic leadership became too weak to survive, it changed into a political system based upon hereditary. This mode of government based upon hereditary system, which was adopted by Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, as a clearly stated by Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, gave a terrible shock to the spirit of collective system of uh, rulership taught by Islam. So the government was no longer a democracy. It was an open system of government by one person with absolute power. So the general interests of the Muslims and Islam, which were former on a democratic system, now uh, became yani, to obey one individual who was now the king of Muslims, and that is Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. So it was a fortune for the Muslims that Muawiyah radiallahu anhu was personally a true Muslim of many virtues. So due to his personal virtues and his generous conduct, nobody felt the difference in the change of government. But men of knowledge and insight felt yani, the difference yani, very painfully. But they could not express their feelings or opinion, and the situation best demanded silence at the point. Any open condemnation of the political system of government based on hereditary introduced by Muawiyah radiallahu anhu would have given rise to widespread commotion and troubles. So gradually, Muawiyah radiallahu anhu took another important step towards cementing yani, the hereditary system of government as in his lifetime, as he obtained pledge for Yazid, his son, to succeed him as the leader. My dear sisters in Islam, this single step, apparently an ordinary event, was so much important that it confirmed the mode of government chosen by Muawiyah radiallahu anhu in place of Islamic democracy, which was the essence of leadership of the rightly guided caliphs. So, my dear sisters in Islam, this kind of open system of government is there. We find that it's there even in our present day in Saudi Arabia, in Emirat, in Jordan, Morocco, and in many other Arab Muslim countries. It was the third factor, indeed, this was the third factor that led to the fall of Muslims. We are going to continue with the fourth factor that led to the fall of Muslims. Inshallah, shukran jazila wa barakallahu fikum.